I want to talk about grief. I want to try and talk about grief. I'm going to try and talk about grief. Now. Why do I want to talk about grief? I don't know. Why do I want to talk about grief? It's a good question. Why do I want to talk about grief, Shadow? Why is it? I want to talk about grief because it's a huge part of my life. It's a huge part of what keeps me moving is grieving. And thanks to the inspiration of a lot of people out there, I'm going to talk about it now. I reckon it's time to talk about grief. I feel like my ability to grieve in a healthy manner, or at least I think it's in a healthy manner most of the time, some of the time at least, it's kept me moving, you know? So, when I talk about grieving in a healthy manner, I mean basically just being real with yourself, being real with yourself about, you know, what's going on and feeling it, and not turning away from every thought and every little thing that you have in your mind and your heart when it's hurting. So here we are, episode 1, grief. Brother, Uncle, Grandpa Wilkinson talking to you in my front yard. These last few months have been just goodness. These last few months have been horrible. They've been horrible. Too many people dying, too many close people that have passed. And I gotta keep doing this little video and takes and in little segments so I can try and stay focused, because yeah, we're in my front yard and I want to talk about grief, and I'm trying this new thing where I'm just going to be open and honest with everybody. I do this on stage all the time. That's how I grieve. I openly grieve. I started grieving the moment I saw pain and suffering in this world. And I felt it in its full force when my brother Aaron died. So that's where it all comes from, you know. And just a couple months ago, my wife's brother Ibis died. So there's so many things going on right now that just I can't stop thinking about it, how it is a central part of my life. It is, and it's crazy because it's just a constant state, you know. You can still be happy and you can still go do things, go out to the bar, go have brunch, go hang out with your family, with your friends, and still be in a constant state of grief also, because you're not mourning, you know. It's a whole nother world. But it's important to acknowledge and recognize what grief is. In my opinion, grieving is letting all of those thoughts that come to you, don't turn them away. The ones that make you feel uncomfortable, because that's where you are able to move on, move forward, to grow, and to keep on living, you know. So that's what this is about. That's where this came from, and that's why I chose this as the first little topic I wanted to talk to y'all about, you know. You know, the song Ragamuffin was written when my brother passed away, Aaron Robert Wilkinson. Back in 2003, he passed, and I was only 23 years old, and it was the worst thing that has ever happened, by far. And even to this day, I still think about him. I still want to text him. I still want to call him, and it's because of that experience that these last few months have been even more frustrating and rough, because I could talk for hours about all the beautiful stuff that's going on and all the great stuff, but the way that I get to really see that stuff and experience it is because of how I grieve. That's that's the main way that I can stay relevant to myself, you know, to stay focused on what's important is to almost be in a constant state of grieving. And it's not as dark and sad as it sounds, because I don't think that our entire culture here in the West is entirely comfortable with the grieving process. We've got books about it, we've got podcasts, but you've got therapy, you know, but despite all of that, the sadness and the depression that comes with it, it can be, you know, almost too much to even bear. And that's why music and singing and talking to people and getting out there is so important, because that's where the healing happens. That's where you do get to see the beauty again. You do get to find the happy things, is by acknowledging and being aware of how sad and rough things are, especially when someone close to you passes. You've got to be open and willing to just feel the stuff and be real with yourself.
Being real with yourself, being real with oneself.
Be real with oneself, you know? That it's hard to sleep, and it's hard to get up, and it's hard to make it through. So this month I'm going to be focusing on grief, and it's January. It seems kind of fitting because it hits after the holiday seasons, you know. I love Christmas and I love Thanksgiving so much. I sing Christmas songs all the time, even in the summer months. I just want to try and take some time to put that out there for everybody who is going through a rough patch, because I am going through a rough patch, yo. You know what I'm saying? There's just too many people that have been passing that are close to me. There's too many to name, and they're from all different parts of my life, and I'm kind of having to hold myself accountable, and that's why I'm doing this, is because, you know, my friend Amy told me something about trying to get a little bit more personal and a little bit more real with myself and real with everybody out there. So that's what this episode is about. That's what these next few episodes behind the song Ragamuffin is going to delve into. And appreciate all y'all listening and watching and hanging in there, one step at a time. Okay? Rock and roll. What are you doing? Little lunar petuna. Okay, take two. It's time to talk about grief. Oh, Luna. You're still around, old boy. Luna. In the midst of grief. Jeez. Stop biting him like that. Okay, sweetie, let's go on a walk. Shadow. Tell him why. You miss your brother, don't you? You miss his old crooked head red. Ooh! Be the same late at night. I hear your voice, you call my name. He and I, she and them will never be the same.
Brother Aaron.